Hey everybody, this is TK with ReadySetFutures and ReadySetFutures.com. Coming at you today for hopefully the first and hopefully a number of these book reviews, what we're calling book reviews. If you've been trading for any length of time, you know as well as I do, you can spend literally thousands on books and different periodicals, different magazines. As part of the ReadySetFutures.com project, I want to share with you guys what I have found works, what I have found doesn't work, and allow you to make your own judgment. So part of that is going through books. I love books myself personally. In my journey of trading up to this point, I've probably spent over $2,000 on books. And I want to share what I can with you guys. I want to be able to cut the wheat from the chaff. Now, a couple disclaimers as we start out, and I'm going to do this for every book report. I paid for all of these books with my own money. So I can give you an unbiased review of the book. If I think it's BS, I'm going to tell you it's BS. If I think that there's value in it, I'm going to tell you that there's value in it. I will likely throw an Amazon affiliate link in the bottom, in the comments or on the notes section. I encourage you guys to click on it. And yes, I will get a small commission if you end up buying something through that affiliate link with Amazon. However, I don't know what it is, cents on the dollar. Regardless, though, I want to disclose that up front. But it's important to note, nobody's asked me to review these. None of the authors, and if they ever do, I will disclose that up front. Like I said, I've got a number of books, some that I've found useful and some that I haven't, all with generally strong reviews on Amazon. So this is just going to give you, my intent or my take on what these books are and have been. So without further ado, today's review is on trade secrets and trade stocks and commodities with the insiders, secrets of the COT report, written by none other than Larry Williams. Now, I hope you guys know who Larry Williams is. He's been trading, as far as I know now, for about 25, 30 years, maybe even longer. And he's been extremely successful at it. His website's ireallytrade.com. Go there. You sign up for his free newsletter. It's not an endorsement for ireallytrade.com. I'm just telling you, I've gone there. I found value in it, especially as a beginner trader. And I own several books by Larry. This in particular, this is around the Commitment of Traders and the Commitment of Traders report. I'm doing the review because we've talked about that a number of times during our market wrap-ups for each day. I'll make reference to the Commitment of Trader report, and it's this book that I've used, or the knowledge that I've gained through this book, that has allowed me to look at the Commitment of Trader report in a new light, such that it makes sense for me. So why not get into it? Hopefully you guys can read, what I got out here in front of me. Book review, trade stocks and commodities with the insider, secrets of the COT report, Larry Williams. Here's what we're going to go over. A quick overview of what the book, just kind of the binding and things like that. Synopsis of the material inside. And then, kind of follow through what Larry gives us in the book. What I'm not going to give you guys is the secret sauce. I'm not going to share with you the formulas that he develops in this book and that he shares. That's the whole reason you buy the book. And I'm not here to undercut the guy. I'm just here to review his work. So, if you do want a little bit more, as I said, I encourage you to buy the book. If you want those formulas, again, buy the book. Or continue to follow me. I'm not going to give you guys the formula, but I will show you the output of those as I do, a weekly commitment to trader review as part of the overview I'll be doing each week. So I haven't put that out yet. First one will be coming this week. Again, if you want to see how that's used live in the markets, by all means tune into that. So why don't we get into it? Book overview, right? As you can see, it's a hardcover book. It's about 200 pages long. I'll kind of get in here. Yeah, about 200 pages long and the index is actually fairly useful. I got a camera. This is the first time I'm doing this with a camera, so you guys can see a bit of what the index contains. And for a 200-page book, 4 pages of index is actually quite well done. So, kudos to Larry on that. If you've read Larry's writing before, you'll know this is just classic Larry Williams. He's a witty writer. He's funny. I think he has a great attitude when it comes to the markets and how to approach the markets. He realizes that trading is hard and that it's hard for most people, if not all people. So I guess maybe there's the lucky few out there that just kind of take this in stride. But for the greater majority of us, it is difficult, and he pays deference to that. He acknowledges that it's hard, and he speaks to you in a way that doesn't come off as condescending or as some type of guru. He actually tells you not to go to gurus, but to find people that really like and learn from them. So that's just kind of quickly on the book overview. From a synopsis standpoint, right? Just a really high level overview of what the book gives us. Larry's got great insight into the commitment to trader report. He goes into depth as to what each one of the individual classes are that are within the commitment to trader report. And at the end, I'll pull up the website so you guys can find out, and you guys can pull it up yourselves if you don't know how to do that already. He breaks down each piece of data in the commitment to report, trader report. He shows how each piece of data is calculated, and he then goes into describing how he uses it. So, for example, the commercials. These are folks that are registered as such with the CFTC as actively hedging against their own productive capacity. So, if you're trading WTI crude, these are going to be companies like Shell Oil, like BP, ExxonMobil, any of the big oil companies, even the smaller oil companies, right? These are the folks that are actively hedging against their own capacity in the event of price shocks, and so they take a big chunk of the marketplace. And the whole premise of the book is following the commercial traders. So I kind of break off into the book here. Again, this is my own personal copy, so you guys may see some notes, you may see some handwriting, you may see some dog-eared pages, but the point of it is, I want to give you guys a good flavor for what the book offers. He's very anecdotal. He gives a lot of anecdotes. He tells a lot of stories, and he uses a lot of charts, which I think are great, especially for this kind of storytelling. What you don't find in here is a lot of statistical analysis. So there's another book that I've got, Evidence-Based Technical Analysis, that is a terrific book, and we're going to definitely do a review on that one in the future. But what Larry does here, right? He's telling stories, and he's using the charts to back that up. Now, Larry Williams, right? He has been doing this so long. He has a number of stories that he can share with us, and really give you the meat and potatoes of what's going on in the market. So this is actually the chapter on introducing the commercials and introducing what he's calling his COT index. So again, to find out what that is, and specifically how to calculate it, you got to read the book. But to give you a brief summary, COT index is it's an oscillator, depending on net position. So yeah, again, that's the information that he presents on the commercials. He also goes into, the public. So if, as you know, in the commitment to trader report, we basically have the commercials, we have the non-commercials, and then we have the non-reportables, otherwise known as the public, or at least large traders that need to report. So here we are. This is the chapter. For every insider, there's an outsider. That's his chapter on the public. And he uses the same anecdote that we all do when it comes to the public at large, right? We call it dumb money. I'm sure you do. I'm part of the dumb money crowd. A lot of you guys are too, no matter how smart you think you are, right? We're all, well, not all of us, but the majority of you guys listening to this are probably retail. As am I. Nothing wrong with retail traders. It's just that's what we are. And that's, as we look at the commitment and trader report, that's where we fall in. So, he breaks down how that's calculated. He breaks down why you don't follow the public market. And it's just the same thing that we've always heard, right? Humans are emotional. The public generally gets in late. They get out early. They get shaken out. They're weak hands. And so, these aren't traders that, if you want to be profitable, you got to do something else, right? You got to find someplace else. Then he goes on to large traders, non-commercials. He lays out the argument in the book that large traders, and these might be floor traders, large. So these guys could be, he lays out the argument that large traders, large floor traders, also manage futures accounts, small hedge funds. These guys, he tells us, aren't necessarily any better than the general public, believe it or not. I thought that was kind of an interesting conclusion. Larry backs it up with a lot of charts. He backs it up with a lot of his historical experience. And he shows you why he feels that way, right? He shows you why, large traders, sometimes they're late. They're specifically in it for profit. And so they're trying to catch the same moves that the public is, although they, in some cases, are the initiators of those moves. He's got enough information here that can show you and really hit home on that. So the last portion, well, then he starts talking about volume, open interest, and how each of those are related, and how he uses open interest and volume to as kind of an integrated whole. And well, let me back that up. After he kind of breaks down the commitment to trader report, at least from a group classification standpoint, then he moves into open interest and volume. And as you guys know, part of that report, part of that commitment to trader report the CFTC publishes every Friday, is work on open interest. Not necessarily the number of shares that were traded or contracts that were traded in that week, but the open interest, the number of contracts that are physically open for that week. Not open, not new contracts, but that were opened, initiated, and old. So it's not volume, right? It's not volume traded. It's literally the number of contracts that are open, shares outstanding, if you will. If you're looking in the world of stocks. So he uses open interest in a way that he walks you through a number of things, right? First, he walks you through open interest in and of itself, and how you can use open interest along with your commitment to trader index to get a better gauge on whether market moves are coming, major bottoms, major tops are coming in. Now, I think that requires a separate conversation here, right? So Larry's thing is long-term stock, or not long-term stock, but long-term future investing, swing trading, right? Larry's a swing trader. He's looking for the bottoms. He's looking for the tops, and he's looking to hold on for the move, the broader move. His holding period is probably quite long and much longer than my own. So, and if you're a day trader, certainly it's much longer than yours. And he uses, at least in the book, he describes how he uses these to find major inflection points in different commodities. And he finds, he shows how open interest is a good gauge to do that. Then he kind of wraps up the rest of the book, the final, I'd say 4 chapters of the book, and kind of puts it all together. So he takes what we learned in the beginning of the book on descriptions of each of the classes. He then brings in the volume and the open interest, and he creates what he calls his Wilco index, WILLCO index. And again, I'm not gonna share how he derives that, but the book does contain it, and I encourage you guys to, if you're interested in finding that out, you probably find it online, or get the book, go to the library, get the book, and you can do it yourself. It's fairly simple. It doesn't take any kind of complex algebra. If you're working with indicators, then it's likely germane to the math that you're already using. So it's certainly approachable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then, interestingly enough, he takes that and he applies it to the worlds of stocks and bonds. And so, really, depending on on what products you trade, there's a little bit in there for everybody, which is kind of nice as well. It's not strictly the futures market; it extends beyond quite a bit. And then he closes it out, right? As I said, I think what's lacking from the book is a deep dive into the statistics. Larry uses a lot of charts, and he uses a lot of historical perspective and experience and anecdotes, and that's all well and good, and it gives you a good flavor for what he's trying to teach here in the book and what he's trying to share with us. But it's light on statistics, right? So what I would like to see, if I could give him a bit of advice, or the publisher a bit of advice, is to take some of these claims and put some rigorous statistics around it. But you know what? You can do that too. I can do that. I've done that. Just to kind of vet it for myself. As traders, Larry's not making my trading decisions. I'm making my trading decisions. So if I'm going to use the work that he's developed, in his book, I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to vet that, using the market data that I can pull. Off the CFTC web report. You have your own data that you're getting as part of the trading packages that you're using. So, it's imminently doable to fact check and to put some rigorous statistics behind it. I just wouldn't like to see it in the book, I guess. And so with that's my book report for Trading Stocks and Commodities with the Insider: Secret of the COT Report by none other than Larry Williams. I guess the last point on my that I want to hit here, the last point on my sheet is would I recommend the book? And a book like this is geared for a certain level of sophistication in traders. Certainly, if you're trading futures and you've never heard of the Commitment of Trader Report, or you don't know how to use it, yes, I would highly recommend this book for you. If you're a beginner and you're trying to find your way into the future world of futures and to kind of decipher a lot of the lingo, then yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a good primer on futures trading. It's a good primer on who a lot of the market participants are and why they do what they do. So in that case, then yeah, I do recommend it. If you've been doing this for a few years, you know what the Commitment of Trader Report is, and you have vetted it as a tool and find that you don't need it or don't like to use it, then no, I wouldn't recommend it to you. Same thing if you are a day trader. If you're in and out on an intraday basis, uh, you may find some value in it, especially if you're relatively new and you're looking to find out who the different players are, the commercials, large commercial, non-commercial large traders, things like that. Then yeah, you'll find value in it, but it's not gonna, um, it's really not geared for a day trader per se. Well, I hope that muddies it, or at least attempts to give you some clarity as to who I'd recommend it for and who I wouldn't. Guys, I want to show you how you can find the Commitment to Trader report. It's great that Larry gives us all this terrific advice on how to use it. But why don't I show you how to find it? So out of any of your web browsers, CFTC or www.cftc.gov for the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. This is their home site. Feel free to browse it. Where you can find the Commitment to Trader report is under Market Reports, Commitment to Traders. And here is where your journey begins. So here's a number of things that you can pull up over here. I don't usually go there. My go-to resource here, because I'm specifically looking for the Commitment of Trader report, and I have some kind of post analysis that I do to it. So I like to go here to the historical compressed. And then this pulls up a few different options for you. So you have disaggregated futures only, disaggregated futures and options, traders in financial futures, futures only, and then the same thing, futures and options combined report for, the trader in financial futures portion. Depending on what you want, if you read Larry's book, Trade Stocks and Commodities with the Insiders, and you want to replicate what he's doing, here are the reports that you want. The disaggregated futures only report. This gives you essentially everything but the indices. It gives you everything but currencies, the euro dollar, bonds, VIX. Those are all not included. Everything else is. So metals, softs, those types of products you're going to find here in the disaggregated futures only report. And you can see here you got a number of years. You got the current year here, and then to get yourself a nice base of data, you can come over here 2006 to 2015. You can download it either as a text or as a full Excel document. They all come down in zip files, I should say. So you'll have to unzip them and then get in there, and you can open up the data. So I've never downloaded the text file, but let me roll in what this actually looks like. A lot of numbers, a lot of things you may find useful, a lot of things you may not find useful, and blow that up a bit. Here on the left, column A, this is your instrument, and then you can see here the different dates. So this is reported out every Friday, and I think at 1 p.m. Eastern time is when the report is actually up. So, it's reported for each week, and here you have open interest. And then we have over here the different actual positions. So your first group are your production merchants, what Larry calls commercial interests. Then you have a group of swap positions. M money is managed money, or what Larry calls reportable. And then you also have over here there's other reportable. And then your non-reportable positions. If you want to find out exactly how the CFTC classifies these, you will have to go back to the CFTC website and get the official explanation. I'm giving you just kind of the cliff notes here to accompany the the book if you really wanted to go in and make use out of what the book has to offer. So just a little follow up for you guys, and let's head back over to the book report. And that's about all I got now, guys. So again, this is TK for ReadySetFutures.com. This is our first book report, hopefully one of many, and I really look forward to doing this in the future. It's been kind of fun, opening the book back up and reading some of the dog-eared pages and some of my notes, going back through and kind of reliving what Larry had to teach us. And I learned some more going back through it. I learned some more, and I think every time I pick up these other books, I'm gonna continue to learn. So trading is all about learning. I really encourage you guys, if you have interest, pick this up at the library, pick it up at Amazon, whatever venue you think is best for you. And if you like this, hit subscribe, leave me some comments. I'd really appreciate, knowing if this is something that you guys enjoy, if the time is right, length of the video, content, just some feedback. I'm going to continue to do this, and if you guys are subscribing and hitting the thumbs up, I'd really like to know what you like, what you didn't like, so that I can do more and less of each. And with that, I'm going to call it. Best of luck next week, traders, and I'll talk to you at our next daily market wrap-up.